The rain tapped softly against the windows of Walter Bennett's enormous dining room, while crystal chandeliers glowed above the long polished table. Every member of the Bennett family had gathered for Walter's 78th birthday dinner, dressed in expensive clothes and fake smiles. Emma Bennett sat quietly near the end of the table, nervously smoothing the wrinkles from her daughter Lily's tiny blue dress. At 7 years old, Lily looked both excited and terrified. She clutched the small handmade birthday card she had spent all week making for her great-grandfather. "Mommy," Lily whispered, tugging Emma's sleeve, "do you think great? Grandpa Walter will like my drawing." Emma forced a smile. "He's going to love it, sweetheart." Across the table, Emma's mother, Patricia Bennett, lifted her wine glass with the cold elegance of someone who believed kindness was weakness. Beside her sat Emma's older brother Daniel, already discussing company profits with his wife, as if the evening revolved around money instead of family. Walter entered slowly with his cane, his silver hair perfectly combed despite his age. The room instantly changed. Conversations stopped. Everyone straightened, but Walter's tired eyes softened the moment he saw Lily. "Well," he said warmly, "there's my favorite young lady." Lily beamed. Patricia rolled her eyes. "Dad, don't spoil the child before dinner even starts." Walter ignored her and kissed Lily gently on the forehead before taking his seat. Dinner began with forced laughter and shallow conversation. Patricia bragged about Daniel's business success, while subtly insulting Emma's modest life at every opportunity. "It must be difficult raising a child alone," Patricia said loudly enough for everyone to hear. "Some women make better decisions than others." Emma felt heat rise into her face but stayed silent. She had learned years ago that arguing with her mother only made things worse. Lily quietly pushed peas around her plate, pretending not to hear. Then Walter cleared his throat. "Lily, didn't you say you made something for me?" Lily's eyes lit up immediately. She climbed down from her chair and carefully handed Walter the folded birthday card. Inside was a crayon drawing of Walter holding hands with Lily and Emma beneath a bright yellow sun. At the top she had written in crooked letters, "To the best great-grandpa in the world." Walter stared at it for several seconds. His eyes became glassy. "This," he said softly, "is the finest gift I received tonight." Daniel laughed lightly. "Better than the Rolex I bought you?" Walter smiled. "Much better." Patricia's lips tightened. Lily climbed back into her chair, proud and glowing. Then Patricia suddenly placed her fork down with a sharp clink. "It's honestly inappropriate," she muttered. The table went silent. Emma frowned. "What is?" Patricia dabbed her lips with a napkin before speaking. "Pretending this child is truly part of the Bennett legacy." Emma's stomach dropped. "Mother, no," Patricia interrupted coldly. "We all avoid saying it, but someone should. Lily's father abandoned you before she was born. There was no marriage, no real family foundation, and yet Dad treats her like she carries the Bennett bloodline." Lily's smile disappeared instantly. Emma's voice trembled. "Stop talking." But Patricia continued. "She isn't truly family, Emma. Everyone here knows it." The room became unbearably quiet. Daniel stared at his plate. His wife looked away awkwardly. No one defended them. Emma felt her chest tighten with humiliation and fury, but before she could respond, a tiny voice shattered her heart. "Mommy," Lily whispered, "why doesn't Grandma want me?" Emma turned and saw tears filling her daughter's eyes. That single moment broke something inside her. "She wants you," Emma lied softly while pulling Lily close. "Some people just forget how to show love." Walter slowly rose from his chair, gripping his cane tightly. His face had turned pale with anger. "Patricia," he said quietly, "you will never speak to that child that way again." Patricia scoffed. "Dad, I'm simply telling the truth." Walter looked directly at Lily, then back at the family surrounding the table. "No," he said firmly. "Tonight, you revealed the truth about yourself." Nobody noticed the way Walter's hand rested protectively on Lily's shoulder. And nobody could have imagined that, in that moment, he had already decided exactly who deserved to inherit everything he built. The weeks after Walter's birthday dinner felt colder than winter itself. Emma tried pretending life had returned to normal, but nothing inside the Bennett family was normal anymore. Patricia stopped calling completely. Daniel ignored Emma's messages. unless they involved legal paperwork connected to the family company. Invitations to family gatherings suddenly got lost. Holiday dinners happened without Emma and Lily even knowing. The message was clear: they were no longer welcome. One snowy afternoon, Emma stood in her tiny apartment kitchen calculating bills while Lily colored quietly at the table nearby. The numbers never worked anymore. Rent had increased again, her car needed repairs, and the small bookstore where she worked had reduced employee hours. Emma rubbed her tired eyes. "Mommy," Lily asked carefully, "did I do something bad?" Emma immediately looked up. "What? No, sweetheart. Then why doesn't Grandma invite us anymore?" The innocent question stabbed straight into Emma's heart. She walked over and knelt beside her daughter. "You did absolutely nothing wrong. Sometimes grown-ups let pride and anger make them cruel." Lily looked down at her crayons. "Great, Grandpa Walter still loves me." Emma smiled softly. "Yes, he does." And that part was true. Walter had become the one bright light in their lives. Despite his failing health, he visited often. Some days his driver brought him to Emma's apartment just to spend an hour with Lily. Other times he invited them to the mansion when Patricia and Daniel were away handling business meetings. Walter adored those quiet afternoons. Unlike the rest of the Bennett family, Lily never cared about his money or influence. She simply loved him. One afternoon, Emma found Walter and Lily sitting together in the mansion's library, surrounded by old books and warm firelight. "What are you two doing?" Emma asked with a laugh. Lily grinned proudly. "Great, Grandpa's teaching me chess." Walter smirked. "And she's already beating me. That's because you keep letting her win," Emma teased. Walter shook his head slowly. "No, Emma, your daughter is smarter than most adults I know." Lily giggled while moving another chess piece. Walter watched her carefully, and something sad flickered behind his eyes. "Do you know what makes someone family, Lily?" he asked gently. She tilted her head. "Same last name, no." Walter smiled softly. "Family is the people who protect your heart when others try to break it." Emma noticed the emotion hidden beneath his words. Walter had changed since the birthday dinner. He looked weaker now, thinner. Sometimes his hands trembled slightly when lifting his teacup. But emotionally, he seemed clearer than ever before. Meanwhile, Patricia's bitterness only grew. At a charity gala 2 weeks later, Emma overheard Patricia speaking to a group of wealthy friends near the ballroom entrance. "Dad has become irrational in his old age," Patricia complained. "He wastes time spoiling that little girl as if she belongs to this family." Emma froze behind the corner. Another woman asked awkwardly, "Isn't she your granddaughter?" Patricia gave a tight smile. "Technically." Emma quietly turned away before they could see her. That night, she cried in the bathroom after Lily fell asleep. She wasn't crying for herself anymore. She cried because no child deserved to feel unwanted by their own family. The next morning, Emma received an unexpected phone call from Walter's personal assistant. "Mr. Bennett would like to see you immediately." Fear rushed through her chest. When Emma arrived at the mansion, she found Walter sitting alone in his office beside the large windows overlooking the snowy gardens. His doctor's medication bottles rested openly on the desk. Walter motioned for her to sit. "I don't have as much time left as everyone believes," he admitted quietly. Emma's eyes filled instantly. "Grandpa," he raised a hand gently, "I need you to promise me something." His voice became serious. "No matter what happens after I'm gone, protect Lily from this family's greed." Emma frowned in confusion. "What do you mean?" Walter looked toward the hallway to ensure nobody was listening. Then he opened his desk drawer slowly. Inside rested a thick envelope beside freshly signed legal documents. And for the first time, Emma realized her grandfather had been preparing something enormous behind the family's back. 3 months later, Walter Bennett passed away quietly in his sleep. The news spread across the city within hours. Business partners released public statements praising his brilliance and generosity. Newspapers called him one of the most respected businessmen in the state. At the funeral, hundreds of people arrived wearing black suits and rehearsed expressions of grief. But Emma barely heard any of it. She stood beside Lily near the front row of the church, holding her daughter's trembling hand while rain poured outside the stained glass windows. Lily cried silently through most of the service. "I miss him already," she whispered. Emma kissed the top of her head. "Me too, sweetheart." Across the aisle, Patricia dabbed fake tears with a designer handkerchief, while Daniel spoke quietly with company executives about future leadership. Even at Walter's funeral, they were thinking about power. Emma noticed it all, and so did the family lawyer. 2 days later, the Bennets gathered inside Walter's enormous office for the reading of the will. The room smelled faintly of old leather books and cigar smoke, as though Walter himself still lingered there. Patricia entered confidently in an expensive black dress, already acting like the mansion belonged to her. "Well," she sighed dramatically while sitting down, "Dad always appreciated tradition. I'm sure he handled things properly." Daniel smirked beside her. "The company shares alone will need months to divide." Emma stayed silent, keeping Lily close beside her chair. The family lawyer, Mr. Carlyle, adjusted his glasses and opened a thick folder. "Walter Bennett's final will and testament," he announced formally. Patricia straightened immediately. Mr. Carlyle began reading several smaller donations first: charities, staff bonuses, scholarship funds. Patricia looked increasingly impatient with every passing minute. Finally, the lawyer reached the main estate. The Bennett family estate, including the mansion, investment accounts, company majority shares, and personal assets. Patricia smiled confidently. "Will be inherited by Lily Carter." The room froze. Emma blinked in shock. "What?" Patricia snapped. Mr. Carlyle continued calmly. "The estate will remain under Emma Carter's legal guardianship until Lily Carter reaches the age of 18. Daniel shot to his feet. "That's impossible." Patricia's face lost all color. "There must be some mistake." "There is no mistake, Mr. Carlyle replied evenly. Patricia slammed her hand against the desk. "That child is not even truly part of this family." Lily flinched beside Emma. Emma wrapped an arm around her protectively while her own heart pounded wildly. She had known Walter was planning something important, but not this. "Not everything." Mr. Carlyle calmly removed another envelope from the folder. "Mr. Bennett anticipated conflict," he said. He left personal letters explaining his decision. Patricia laughed bitterly. "Oh, this should be entertaining." The lawyer unfolded the first letter and began reading aloud. "To my family, if you are hearing this, then I am finally at peace. I spent years building wealth believing I was creating security for future generations. Instead, I watched greed poison the hearts of those closest to me." Daniel crossed his arms angrily. "Mr. Carlyle continued. Patricia and Daniel measured family by blood, status, and money. But the little girl they rejected showed me more love in 7 years than the rest of this family showed me in decades." Silence filled the room. Emma looked down as tears gathered in Lily's eyes. The lawyer read on. "Lily never asked me for anything. She sat beside me when I was lonely. She made me drawings when everyone else sent invoices and business proposals. She reminded me what family truly means." Patricia's breathing became shaky with rage. "This is manipulation," she hissed at Emma. "You planned this." Emma stared back coldly. "My daughter loved him. That's all she ever did." Mr. Carlyle opened the final page. "And to Patricia specifically, the night you called Lily not family was the night I realized who truly did not belong in my legacy." Patricia looked like she had been slapped. Daniel cursed under his breath. Then Mr. Carlyle delivered the final blow. "Per Walter Bennett's instructions, Patricia Bennett and Daniel Bennett are to vacate the family mansion within 30 days. Patricia gasped. "You can't do this to us." But deep down, everyone in the room understood something at that moment. Walter already had. The family member they treated as worthless had become the sole heir to everything they ever wanted. The Bennett mansion felt completely different after Patricia and Daniel moved out. For the first time in decades, the house no longer carried the heavy tension of greed and competition. The endless arguments were gone. So were the expensive parties filled with fake laughter and people chasing Walter's money. Now the halls were quieter, warmer, alive again. Emma stood by the large living room window one spring morning, watching Lily run through the garden Walter once cared for so deeply. The little girl laughed while chasing butterflies between the flower beds, her bright yellow dress glowing beneath the sunlight. For the first time in years, Emma felt peace, not because of the inheritance, but because Lily no longer questioned whether she belonged somewhere. She finally knew she was loved. Walter's letters had spread quickly through the family and social circles. Patricia's cruel words at the birthday dinner became impossible to hide after several household employees quietly confirmed the story. Business partners who once admired Patricia began distancing themselves from her. Daniel lost important company support after Walter's voting shares transferred entirely into the trust under Emma's control. The same people who once ignored Emma suddenly tried becoming friendly again, but Emma remembered everything, especially the silence, because sometimes betrayal wasn't only about cruelty. Sometimes it was about the people who watched cruelty happen and said nothing. A few months later, Emma made a decision that surprised everyone. Instead of spending Walter's fortune on luxury, she used part of the inheritance to open a children's foundation in his name. The organization provided food, school supplies, counseling, and safe housing for single parents and abandoned children. When reporters asked why she created it, Emma simply answered, "Because one kind person changed my daughter's life. Every child deserves that kind of love." Walter Ben, its name slowly became connected not only to business success, but also to compassion, and Lily became the heart of it all. Every Saturday, she helped organize books in the children's reading room at the foundation building. Employees adored her gentle nature. She remembered everyone's names, hugged crying children, and shared her toys without hesitation. "She has Walter's heart," one elderly volunteer once told Emma. Emma smiled through tears because she knew it was true. Meanwhile, Patricia's life continued falling apart. Without control of the family fortune, maintaining her expensive lifestyle became impossible. Her social circle disappeared almost overnight. Friends who once surrounded her at charity galas suddenly stopped answering her calls. By the second year, Patricia sold most of her jewelry and moved into a small apartment across town. And then, one rainy afternoon, she appeared at the mansion door. Emma opened it slowly, stunned by how much older her mother looked. The proud elegance Patricia once carried had been replaced by exhaustion. "I just want to talk," Patricia said quietly. Emma hesitated before allowing her inside. Lily sat in the living room finishing homework when Patricia entered. For a moment, nobody spoke. Then Patricia looked at the child she once rejected. "You've grown so much," she whispered. Lily gave a polite smile but stayed close to Emma. Patricia's eyes filled with regret. "I made terrible mistakes." Emma crossed her arms silently. Patricia looked directly at Lily. "I was cruel to you when you were little. I thought family was about appearances and bloodlines and reputation. Your great-grandfather was right about me." The room remained still. Finally, Patricia swallowed hard. "I'm asking for forgiveness." Emma expected anger from Lily. Or maybe fear. Instead, the little girl answered softly with a calmness far beyond her years. "Grandpa told me family protects your heart," Lily said gently. "And people who hurt your heart have to earn their way back." Patricia began crying quietly, not dramatic tears. Real ones. Lily walked over slowly and handed her a tissue. That small act of kindness shattered Patricia more deeply than revenge ever could. Because in the end, the child she called not family became the only person willing to show her grace. And that was the sweetest revenge of all.